welcome to another episode of Beer for Breakfast ABV. I am Danielle from the morning show on 91X. I have my beer drinking partner in crime with me from the safety of his own home, Paul Segura, brewmaster of Karl Strauss. And today for Beer for Breakfast, I have brought the family. This is my other half of the family, my Latchkey Brewing family. I've got a side hustle and I pour beer in the tasting room there a couple days a week. I've missed these two immensely, not being able to see them. I've got owner Matt and tasting room manager Teresa with us today. Welcome, guys.
Yay! Thanks for having us.
I missed you guys, and I missed the tasting room.
Cheers.
Cheers to that.
And we missed
we've already started. We've poured our first beer. The 1915 light lager comes in at a 4.6% ABV. This is a delicious beer.
It is.
It is.
I can crush many of these.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that beer was designed for exactly that, Paul. Crushing. It's a 4.6%, as you said, and what I love about it is the brown rice in it. That you can, if you don't know it's there, you don't quite know what that flavor is. But as soon as you say brown rice, you're like, that's it.
I was going to ask if there was a little rye in that one as well, because it almost has that sort of rye-like pungent, sort of just a lingering finish.
Yeah, kind of a little earthy, peppery note to it.
Yeah, it's hard to describe that flavor, but it's for a 4.6 beer. There's a lot going on there, man. There's a lot of flavor.
Yeah, it's definitely a rich beer. American lager style. It was the very first beer that we ever brewed. I don't know if you remember from the last time we talked, we had a very unique opening when we opened. Our friends and family had 2 beers, and our grand opening had 3 beers. The 2 beers that we had were a porter and a lager, and that was the lager. So it was like people were coming in, which beer do you want? The light one or the dark one? It's pretty much the option.
I mean, it's power move.
Those were also
lager. Yeah, like a clean, good lager too. So
yeah. And the great thing
probably
is
2 styles of beer that were on pre-prohibition as well in 1915.
Oh, it makes sense. Yeah.
Can you tell us the story behind the name of the beer, Matt?
Yeah. So if you look at our building, we're in the Mission Brewery Plaza. It's an old building that had, it was a brewery to begin with, and then it was defunct for a while, and it was a whole bunch of other things along the way. Airplane parts. It was an auger factory, a sanatorium during the influenza outbreak, all kinds of stuff that happened.
So familiar.
Exactly. It's our quarantine beer is what it is. And on the top of the building, there's a big weather vane that says San Diego 1915 on it. And when we went to make that beer, we said, we're going to get it out of our system. All of our beers, our whole brand is designed around having fun, having a good time, having fun with the names, all that stuff. We said, first beer, we're going to make it a little sentimental. We'll name it after the building. And then we're done with that. We're moving on. We're having fun. So that beer, it was a one-shot deal to begin with, and it took off. It actually outsold our IPAs during our first probably 6 months. And so there was a lot of pent-up demand when we got rid of it. We got rid of that and we moved on to a Pilsner instead. And that did really well too, except people were pounding their fists about getting that beer. So now it's a staple beer.
So are you still naming all the beers, or are you letting the other riffraff there name some of those?
We're all naming them together.
We all struggle together. It's harder than it. I mean, I'm sure you know, but we always we had to put it on each other. It's like, okay, I'm not doing this one. You have to do it. You have to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Naming the beers is tough.
Yeah, we had a double IPA a couple months ago that came out. It was a special release, and we had to run off. I think we were going to GABF, and was it GABF? I can't remember. Whatever we were running off to, we were wrapping up really quickly, and we're like, threw it in Teresa's lap, and we're like, Teresa, you name it. And so she texts us. She's like, not my job. And I'm like, is that the name of the beer, or are you protesting? And she goes, it's not my job. We're like, all right, it's called It's Not My Job.
Wow.
And people love it. It's so much fun to say. Just, no, that's can I get a not my job? Like, not my job. It's just fun to say. And yeah, it worked out just fine. But that was an example. We had been back and forth for weeks on that name, and that's what we came up with.
Well, and that's the vibe of the tasting room. The vibe of the tasting room is a lot of fun. It's open. There's games, TVs everywhere. It's a great place to come together. Obviously, right now, we cannot gather together there. But how are we getting your beers? What's going on with Latchkey right now?
Yeah.
Actually, I'll let Teresa talk about that one.
Sure. Yeah. So at the moment, we are open in the tasting room for 3 hours at a time. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're open 3 to 6 for to-go beer and merch and, gift cards. And Saturday, Sundays, we're open 12 to 3. We have the availability on our website to pre-order beers, so just give us 15 minutes heads up. And that's been going really well for us. We're kind of considering other avenues as, we've had to totally pivot our business model. And we've been, I think, pretty flexible with this. And I'm just happy that we have the ability to set up and see some of our regulars, from a safe distance. So it's been really nice. People have been awesome and super supportive.
Yeah. One of the things, actually, speaking of the ordering online, that I've been trying to kick around and we'll make a little bit stronger push on this is we found a great a company that does e-gift cards that ties directly into our POS system. And it has this great ability to be able to send them. So we want to create a whole movement of buying friends beers. And it's
so
like,
cool.
we can't buy you, like, I can't sit down next to you and buy you a beer, but hey, I'd love to send you a beer, or I'd love to buy you an e-gift card, and it just shows up in your inbox or on your phone as a text, and you're like, go to Latchkey and pick up your beer, So, we want to create some sort of movement there, not just for us, but I think a lot of people should be doing that. As we're stuck in the confines of our homes, I would be super stoked if my phone buzzed and it was like, your beer's ready, come get it.
Right? The times we live in. Before we pivot into our next beer, Matt, we were talking when I came to pick up the Crowlers, me, you, Paul, and Teresa, we were talking, and could you explain to everybody the importance right now of where your dollars are going and coming to the brewery? Because you guys are in a little bit different situation than some of the other San Diego breweries. You're not in grocery stores.
Exactly. So we've been hit in, I wouldn't say a unique way, but I think there's really 3 groups of breweries in terms of how they're getting hit. The first is larger breweries that are more focused on packaged beer and distribution. They're and less on their physical tap rooms. I think those breweries are getting hit, but they at least have their outlet of retail beer. Then there's the ones that kind of are a hybrid of both, which is a lot like the Karl Strausses. And then you have breweries that are like us, which is 100% of our distribution beer is draft. And there are very few companies out there that are selling draft beer. They're either closed or they're doing a limited business. And while they're able to sell to-go beers, I don't see it as something that's really caught on. I think people look at it as a novelty and they're like, why would I pay more for more expensive beer if I'm drinking it at home? I might as well get the cheaper stuff at the store anyway.
I don't understand that logic.
Same.
Exactly. But you get these different scenarios, and for us, we've been kind of hit hard on that. So we're really dependent on 100% people showing up and buying Crowlers here. And we do have a couple of accounts that have actually asked for growlers, and they're selling beers. We actually have one account that is a pizza place, and they're doing $20 for a pizza and a growler of Latchkey beer.
That's awesome.
Which is
all right. So it's not legal for you to say the name, but I can say the name, right?
Exactly.
Round Table Pizza. Go there. Get that beer. Valley, I believe.
Is Tierra Sena.
Okay.
They also own the Mission Valley location too.
Cool.
But yeah, so that's kind of how we've been hit. And which the cool thing for us, actually, it's a little bit nerve-wracking right now, but it's forced us to do something that we've been threatening to do for a long time, which is canned beers. So on the horizon, We actually have 3 beers that we're looking to can. We're talking with a mobile canning company right now about setting up all the logistics about that. So hopefully over the next couple of weeks, we can start releasing some beers, and which actually, I don't want to elaborate too long, but our anniversary was kind of a big dud. Not sure how many people know this, but our anniversary big party was supposed to be planned for, last Saturday, and or 2 Saturdays ago, and unfortunately that didn't happen. So that's when we decided that all the beers that we were going to be releasing then, we kind of postponed them a bit so we can actually get them directly to can, and then we'll do more of a beer distribution thing. Come pick up your beer. If we can get to the point where we can ship beer, we'll do that. And then we'd like to create some events around that. We've got some cool merch to go along with that, and we're just doing our best to have fun with it.
That's awesome.
I look forward to seeing your cans, Matt.
Dad joke.
Damn it.
Pivoting to our next beer, the All Right. It is a hazy rye IPA at 7%. Nose off of this is so good.
Thank you. So yeah, that was that one was one that came up as a special release about a little over a year ago, and then it was forced back by popular demand as well.
I can see why.
Yeah.
It's such an easy drinking beer. It's the opposite of most hazy IPAs. It drinks like a West Coast IPA, but it has a lot of the softness of a hazy beer. So the way that Anthony makes his beers, it
really does, doesn't it?
What's that?
It really does. Are there like wheats and oat in this?
How
are you getting that
I want to say
softness?
there's some wheat in there and oats.
That explains it.
Just a little
and
bit.
rye.
And a little bit of
rye. Yeah, just a little bit of rye. You can pick up the rye notes in there. They offset that Idaho 7 and Cashmere pretty well. And it's just a super easy drinker.
Well, the nose coming off of this is insanely hoppy too. It's like putting my face in a bag full of hops here, man. I love that.
Yeah, we've actually changed our process for how we dry hop. And most of our beers, after the hot side hops, which most of that, by the way, is all Whirlpool hops, very little in the boil. But our process for most of our dry hopping is really a 3-step dry hop. We call it a triple dry hop, but it's not getting 3 times as much. It's just getting it over three processes. So we use a hop infuser. And we do like half batch in the hop infuser because we found that the less you have in there, the more surface area you get. So we do a run of that, give it a couple days rest. We'll do another run of that through the hop infuser, and then we'll do a traditional dry hop through the top of the tanks. Because what we were finding is while the hop infuser is really good for flavor, the nose really was falling off. So adding that little bit of dry hop at the end through the traditional process, we actually are able to get the nose back on it. And it's, I guess our process is getting a lot more refined at this point.
You sound like a mad scientist. You sound like a mad scientist as you explain all of it. I love it.
And by the way, this is me third hand. I mean, it's all Anthony that's doing this up there, our head brewer.
Can we all take a second and cheers to Anthony, by the way? Can we all cheers to Anthony, brewer for Latchkey. You make a great beer, Anthony.
Yeah, whatever he's doing to get the nose on this, don't let him change that. It's be careful. Be careful saying triple dry hop. If Wirt Wrangler gets a hold of that, they're going to have a field day with you, man.
Exactly. That's what you're saying. It's a 3-step dry hop.
There you go.
Teresa, what is the best way to be keeping up with what's going on with Latchkey, with the releases of the new beers coming out, pickup hours, all that great stuff?
Yeah. So as far as hours, you can find updated hours on the website, on Yelp, Google. We're trying to keep up with that. The phone, obviously, Instagram, Facebook. We rely pretty heavily on social media sorry. To let
I've got one too. Don't worry.
My dog is very much.
I thought I saw Doug next to you there for a minute.
There's a Doug here too.
2 dogs and a Doug.
So,
Hi, Dougie.
Hi, cutie.
if there's any new merch, anything that we're gonna do, any live, beer shots that we've been doing on our Instagram, we'll announce via social media so people can follow us, and everything that we're doing is there. So I'd say Instagram or Facebook's the best way to find out, but doesn't hurt to call, doesn't hurt to email. We've got it all on our phones. We'll see it immediately and we'll reply.
And by the way, Doug, you want to get in frame there? That's a mighty handsome shirt you got there.
Oh, look at that. Oh, was that in preparation for Brown is back? Is Brown
Yes,
back?
it is. We just got these on hand, and they're available to purchase in the tap room. You can reserve them, or I guess you can't reserve them quite online yet, but you can come on down and grab one.
Get them.
Send me an email and say, hang on to one for me. I will.
See, that's the beauty of small business. When you send your emails, you send your messages, your comments, you pick up your beer, these are the faces. It doesn't just go up into the ether.
Exactly.
Matt and Teresa, Latchkey Brewing, thank you so much for making time to talk to Paul and I for beer for breakfast. This Friday morning, Paul's going to call into the morning show, and we're going to be drinking some Latchkey beer, myself, Marty, and Paul. So Friday morning, 9:10, be sure to listen to 91X.
Awesome. Cheers, guys.
Thanks so much for having us. I'm going to crush. And I'm definitely going to keep a lookout for the anniversary party that's been deferred for the time being.
Please do. Fun beer.
Come back in and get some of that special beer that you guys cooked up for that.
Nice. We might hit you up to play some music for that if you're interested.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Only if I can get Doug to sit in with me.
Of course.
Nice.
I think we
I'll take Carol there too.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Cheers to independently owned craft beer and radio in San Diego.
Yes, cheers to that.
Yes,
All you need is
Support your local.
91X.